Hello, treasures. It's my final week of sabbatical, and I wanted to share a few thoughts with you. It's been such a refreshing and contemplative time. So, our focus for June is on friendship. Bishop Tony Miller said this. He said, "Some people would have revival if they just had a friend." I believe it to be true. Friendship is God's answer. Friendship is a gift we give to others, but it's a gift we give ourselves. So I ask this question, are you available for friendship? You see, friendship is spelled with time and money. And at the end of people's lives, when they're lying on their deathbed, they're not wishing they worked more, made more money, cleaned the house more. What they wished is that they had spent more time with those they loved, and that they had spent more time with those that loved them. I'm so committed to not living in that regret. I've already come to real terms with regret, and I've kicked it to the curb. I want to spend my life, my time, my money on what matters most, and that's people. It's treasures. It's the circle of friends we find ourselves in. So again, let's ask ourselves this question. Are we available for real, life-giving friendship? Not just fun times, but life-giving friendship. A few thoughts on friendship. Friendship should have fun, but it's so much more than that. Please, let's have loads of fun. Laugh till we cry and act like little kids again. But it's just so much more than just that. Friendship it's supposed to be a safe place. So do you know someone that when you're with them, you feel safe? May I say this? Imitate them. Be like them. Be a safe place. Can friends be with you and not feel as though you're trying to fix them? Can friends be with you and not feel judged? Can they let their hair down, so to speak? You see, the Apostle Paul wrote about Onesiphorus in 2 Timothy, and he said this. He said that whenever I'm in his presence, I am so encouraged and I'm so refreshed. Can that be said about us? Friendship is also a place that conflict happens, and it's a place where truth is spoken. Peter and Jesus are such an incredible example. They had mishaps, they had misspoken words, and yet through it, a deep bond was formed. I mean, Peter pledged his loyalty to Jesus and then bounced right on out of his life. And yet Jesus, with open arms, welcomed him back. Jesus called Peter Satan. I mean, that's some pretty harsh language. And yet, they were near and dear to one another. I said this last week, that story is a soil in which friendship grows. Can you listen? Really listen? When was the last time you listened to someone's story? Like really listened with intent? Celeste Headley gave a TED Talk on 10 ways to have a better conversation. And really, is there any other skill more needed in our day and age than to be able to have conversation and to listen to one another? This is a few things that she says. She says, be present. Don't multitask. So how many of you really are multitasking as you're listening to this video? We're driving down the road and we're listening, or we're putting on our makeup while we're listening. But what if we put it all aside to just listen? She says, assume you have something to learn. Wow, blows my mind. I can learn from my friends. Can we approach friendship this way? She also says, don't equate your experience with others. And I love that. Your story is unique, and their story is unique. My joy looks different than yours. For me, grandbabies are joy. For you, it may be that you have no kids in the house for 2 hours. Grief looks different too, and it's okay. She goes on to say, listen, just really listen to one another. Our brains only allow us to talk at 225 words a minute, but we listen at 500 words a minute. So listen intently, lean in. She says a lot of other things, but a final thought from her is this. She says, plan to be amazed. I love that. God has some amazing people we get to do life with. And what if we approach them with the expectation of amazement? God is amazing, and his sons and daughters, our friends, are stinking amazing. So while I was on sabbatical, I found myself so encouraged by the life of Eugene Peterson. For those of you who don't know of him, he wrote the Message version of the Bible. He had changed his approach where relationships and friendships were concerned. He said this, that each week he'd focus on 3 people. He'd focus on the good about them. He prayed for them. He carried them in his heart. A man who since his past is speaking to friendship, to loving people well. In our fast-paced world, let's be intentional with our friendships this week and in the coming weeks. Let's be like Eugene Peterson and be intentional with people. Send the card, write the text, make the phone call, have coffee dates, and pray for your friends. What we say won't necessarily be remembered, but our togetherness, our connectedness will. Our connectedness will be remembered. Let's be intentional with our friendships. Let's have fun, create safe places for friendship. Let's listen and let's be open-armed to friendship. Let's be available for friendship. Let's be amazed by God's gift of friendship. So what will you do this week for friendship? Who will you connect with this week? I love each of you dearly. I'm praying for you. I carry you in my heart. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, rest of the week. Love you, treasured one.